Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's doing really well. Spring is approaching, it's upon us, it's starting. Outside is already warming up slightly, although we've had quite cold weather recently. It's time to be sowing seeds if you're into outdoor gardening. It's time where our houseplants start waking up again after winter, and it's the perfect time to propagate. So I'm going to propagate a couple of plants today. Some I'm a little bit nervous about. They might be some of my bigger plants, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's just time. If there's any time to do it, it's now. I was looking back at some photos the other day from this time last year, of some of these plants in particular, and I was like, shit, did that really grow that much in 1 year? Which gave me a little bit of confidence, I guess, to cut them. A couple of plants have gotten leggy, some of them have lost their lower leaves. I think overall it would be better to just kind of restart a couple of them, so I'm going to be doing that today. Yeah, I'm nervous, but I thought it would be good to show you guys. I really want to know what you guys are propagating. Are you taking any kind of bigger risks like I am, cutting your bigger plants or your bigger plants, your more mature plants? If you are, I'd love to hear about it and how it goes, and maybe give me some confidence about doing this to mine. But yes, we will see how it goes. We'll see what happens. So the first plant I'm going to do is my beloved Philodendron tortum. So I really love this plant. I've also never propagated this plant, which makes it even riskier and terrifying. If you do want kind of more background information on how to propagate plants, how I water propagate plants, I will link one of my older videos here for that reason. Why can't I speak today? Yeah, so I won't be doing much explaining, just kind of do a couple of spring propagations and hang out together. So grab a cup of tea or a drink or a snack or something. I have my tea here. And we're just gonna chill and get some plant stuff done. So I think I should show you my tortum. Okay, so I got my tortum, can't even remember. I guess it might have been this time last year, but it was like a small three or four leaf, very kind of bushy plant. It hadn't started to climb or anything like that. And now it's probably about, how high is that? It's over a meter anyways. And if you saw in my moving houseplants video, I did knock the top off of this in the move, so it's actually already started to grow back. So it got knocked off here, and there's a new growth point already coming up here. So it's kind of sad to cut that again, but oh well. So this is how long it is. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a big gap and 8, 9 leaves. So from this leaf to this leaf, we have 2 nodes here and here that the internode spacing was really big. And I don't really know why that happened, why those nodes decided to not have leaves. But I was a bit disappointed in that. I think it was probably, I don't know, it was just setting out kind of, not runners, but it's trying to look for stuff to climb up. I reckon that's what I say happened. So in all honesty, the root system on this is super good, super healthy. I don't think I'm going to repot it. It's still doing pretty well. I really do hold off on repotting now until things are super root bound. But I'm going to cut. I'm literally dancing around the actual cutting part because I'm nervous. But I think I'm going to cut it back down to here. The first node that started kind of reaching up to the branch. And look, we're going to make a bushy one. And we're hoping going to encourage some attaching as well. So My last video was on using branches for climbing plants, and this is obviously a great specimen, but this one hasn't really, I guess, it hasn't attached yet. It hasn't really sent out those aerial roots. So I'm hoping that this will encourage it, or at least start again. I feel this overwhelming sadness. Okay, I'm just going to do it. Oh my God. What have I done? What have I done now? I'm going to show you how long of a piece I've just cut off there. I think there is a certain element of bravery that one must have, confidence in growing skills maybe to do this. It always makes me so, I get so attached, I think, to my bigger plants. I take care of them a lot and seen them grow from small plants to big plants, so it's hard to just cut that down. But there we go. Oh God. Okay. Right, so that is my sad little tortum down here again. Oh, that is a little bit disappointing. But anyway, in the long term, this is going to be good. I'm going to put one of these Velcro things to reattach it. I'm so sorry. Can I get my thoughts together, please? Jesus. Not the most stable stick. Let me show you. I have just cut off all of this. Oh my God, it's not even fitting in frame. How sad is that? It's going to be good. I have the confidence that it will be good. I hope that this roots well. It is a philodendron, but I have honestly noticed that the tortum doesn't, it's maybe not as easy in its care compared to other philodendrons that I have. It definitely is a little bit more diva-y and a little bit more awkward, so I'm really just hoping that it roots well. Honestly, it's making me very nervous. So I'm going to chop up all of this, by the way, into individual propagations. What I wanted to say was that I have found that while propagating, if I plan to propagate, especially some of my bigger plants, I will try to get to do it after, like the day after. Oh, I can't fucking speak today. I find that with my bigger plants, I try to organize when I'm going to propagate it until the day after I've watered it. The reason for that is your propagation is not going to have any roots. It's not going to have any way of taking up water, basically, and that will stress it out for a while. But if you're giving it water soon before it's propagated, it will plump up a bit. It will have a bit more, like, it'll be more turgid, have a bit more life going for it. I think that will prepare it to be able to make roots a bit faster. I find that there's definitely more success that way. Haven't done any experiments on that or anything, but that's kind of what I found is good to do. I'm going to cut this into individual pieces basically, and I'm going to leave as much, because I haven't propagated this before and because I'm nervous about it, I'm going to leave as much internodal spacing on each end of the propagation that I can. And that's basically just because if I'm going to be getting a lot of rot with this type of plant, I don't know, I'd like to have that just insurance. So I'm going to cut here. Oh, sorry, Lua. That's one. And we just go along. This is making me so nervous. I feel like I wasn't mentally prepared for this at all. Great, I've just broken it. So that went really well. Okay. So I don't know what the plan with this is, if they're rooted, if I want to use it in trades. I don't really know yet. Okay, so what's happened here is it's broken here, which is not super terrible. It's okay. Now, for a piece like this, these are the two nodes that didn't make leaves. I've seen a lot of people have a lot of success with wet sticks, or basically growing roots from nodes that don't have leaves. I've seen a lot of success with that. I've never had success with that. But I also don't use sphagnum moss in my plant care, and I don't have any prop boxes or anything like that. It's something that I maybe will consider doing in the future, but it's just not something I do right now. But I'm gonna try, okay? I'm gonna try. Maybe I'll try it with some leca, which I haven't done before. I think I probably have more luck with that. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm still going to cut these, but I'm going to try to grow them in a semi-hydro situation. Okay, this is just so long, so I am going to cut that off a little bit. Just that internode thing, and throw that away. Now, trying to figure out what to do with this. So it already broke here when moving. Has a new grow point here, but there's a node down here, so I actually think I am going to risk it, and I'm going to cut here. That's fine. Okay, so those are my propagations. So I got quite a lot from that, honestly. That's a whole year of growth, basically, that I've cut off there, honestly. It's not the fastest grower by any means as well, compared to some of my other philodendrons. So one thing I do with my propagations is I let the wounds, I guess, dry out for a couple of hours. I don't like, because I water propagate, I do not like putting open kind of oozing wounds into water, because I feel that kind of opens up the plant tissue to more bacteria and stuff. So just saying that. So I'm going to leave these literally dry out. I'm not going to be worried. Like I said, they've been watered. You see this, look, I'm going to show you. My Standliana, which is so big. Trying to do this without spilling everything. That's my monster Standliana. Can you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the lowest leaves are yellowing? I'm so upset with myself. I fucking overwatered it, didn't I? I overwatered it. I am 100% still getting used to the conditions of the new house. Is honestly totally different to what I am used to in my plant care and how I care for my plants. That has been quite nerve-wracking, in all honesty. And I will explain to you why the conditions are so different while I'm getting my beloved verrucosum. Guys, I'm going to cut it. I said it in the last video, it's lost a lot of lower leaves. It's time. This is, look at me. This is my verrucosum, guys. Woo! It's on this maybe 2.5 meter branch, and I love it. It's one of my pride and joys. I really love it, but it has not coped well with the move. It just has not. So all of this is leafless, the first meter of the plant. It doesn't have any lower leaves. Some of them have fallen off naturally, as in the old house. Some of them have had trouble adjusting. Now, if this plant was significantly maturing in terms of leaf size, I probably wouldn't be cutting this, in all honesty, because it's a mature plant. Mature plants, they over time just lose their lower leaves. That's a fact of it. So that's really not the main reason that I'm cutting this. The main reason that I'm really cutting it is because it also has not fully attached to the branch. The leaves are staying the same size, and I feel like in order to give it a better chance to mature, I should cut it. Similarly, this plant was quite small this time last year, so I'm going to cut it quite low down in the base for show, and that will have no leaves, and I will let that just kind of regrow, and then I'm going to chop, similar to the tortum, I'm just going to chop it all the way up. And I will be taking out this super annoying branch. I know it looks cool, but it's just too annoying to balance in here. How are you guys feeling about this? because I am feeling a little bit ill at the thought of cutting one of my favourite plants in my collection. I must show you this very interesting flat root. So the root grew 100% underneath the Velcro. See this fluffy flat root? It did attach, but it hasn't attached past this point, so I'm not that, you know. First things first, cut below. You can't see this, but I'll show you all the, oh God, I just did it. No, I have instant regret. I literally have instant fucking regret over this. This is my verrucosum. We're going to hold a minute's silence for what once was my most beautiful verrucosum. I do still think that verrucosum is literally one of the most beautiful frickin' plants there is. And luckily a lot of people have it now. Look, it was looking good at the top, it was. So, look at all those notes down there. So that's it. That's her. So that's the top cutting. We have the newest leaf here, and then like that cataphyll on the top. So that's cutting number 1. The tortum I easily accepted, I think. But this is just so damn gorgeous that I'm really quite upset. Cutting number 2. Wow, look at that fluffy xylem and phloem coming out. Look, the stem was also getting much thicker, which is a sign of maturing plant, you know. Like down here, can you even notice that? The thickness of the stem here and here. Thicker stem means it's a maturing plant, you know. But I honestly didn't feel that the leaves weren't getting much bigger. I have all of these wet sticks, I guess, that are going to be dried out. So then I have six cuttings. So 1, 2. This is hard to hold. 3. It's also hard to see with all the leaves. 4, 5, and then the top cutting 6. So again, like I said, I've left like a lot of space because I'm nervous that it's not going to root. But hopefully it will. And if it does root, by the way, and you've all this kind of ugly space at the top, you can cut that after. Once this node has rooted, you can chop off the top if you don't want it, like, you know, looking like a big thing sticking out, I guess. Okay, guys, so emotionally that was very difficult for me. Might have to, like, I don't know, tell my therapist about that or something. Okay, so there's 2 more plants I want to do, but I'm conscious I'm taking a lot of time. I'm going to chop up my squamiferum because I don't like the way it looks. Definitely, okay, this is what it looks like. So at the bottom here, I have my propagations from last year, which I planted all at the base. They're healthy, they're good, they're growing up, but they're slow AF. Then I have like my main old plant, which I had chopped here last year, and then it grew up. And just in a whole year, I had like 2 or 3 leaves. A lot of internodal spacing that isn't super attractive, I think, and it's grown 2 new leaves since I've actually moved in here. So I'm sure that it was slowing down for winter growth, but I think it's just not as attractive as it could be, and I want to cut it back down to here to kind of restart the main plant. Again, root system is healthy, so I'm going to cut it to the base. Not that fussed about this plant because I have propagated it quite a few times and I'm not worried that it's going to root or anything, you know. It's also reached the top of this branch, so the stem is very woody down here, which is scary. So I'm going to cut it here. Look at me just cutting off all my big plants. I'll try a wet stick from down here. that over there, try and remember what that is. It's a lot of stuff going on here where I chopped here last year. New growth started here. So we're probably going to get some mad roots out of this part, but I'm going to cut it there. One thing I did want to say, just about like the channel, future content. Obviously, this time of year as plant people, we're all kind of thinking like, well, I think a lot of us are thinking like, what are our, you know, kind of goals for the year? What do we want our plants to look like? You know, we're propagating because we have plans for certain plants that we want to restart or make bushier or whatever, or sell or trade. And I guess I'm kind of doing that with the channel too. Like, I know that I've spoken before about having a mix of kind of semi-educational from a total amateur's perspective, and also like chill content, like propagating and stuff like that, and just chatting shit basically. But I do want to know, and I'm going to ask this in the community tab for anybody that doesn't watch this video. I do want to know, like, what level of a plant care person would you consider yourself as? Do you consider yourself a beginner? Do you consider yourself that has a kind of medium level knowledge of plant care? Or do you consider yourself a kind of an expert, I guess? I know I'm going to get varied answers, but I'd like to kind of know what, I guess, level of detail to put in to any videos that are slightly educational. I don't want to sound like, I guess the point that I'm making is, for myself, at the beginning of watching plant YouTube, I was literally watching everything because I was like, I need to have all of the information possible to be able to take care of my plants better. And a lot of that information has become, in my opinion, very saturated and very kind of, I don't need to watch these type of videos anymore, you know? I'm not seeking out plant YouTubers for a basic level understanding of propagation, for example. I'll be seeking out people for chill content, to just kind of watch people hang out and do their plant chores, entertaining type of people with quirkier or more kind of cinematic content I really love. And I'm just interested, as someone who watches YouTube like all day, every fucking day, I'm interested in my audience, as someone who has their own channel. I'm interested to hear, like, if I continue to make educational type of content as well as the chill content, I kind of want to know what level of information are you going to want from that? Because I definitely can give more in-depth knowledge about plants. I do a lot of kind of I'm an ecologist as my job, so I do have kind of different perspectives on plants in the environment and stuff. So yeah, I'm just trying to gauge, like, what does my audience really want though? If you are all people who consider yourself probably well versed in plant care, if you started at the beginning of the pandemic, for example, I don't want to be putting out content that is kind of like, you've heard all this before and you're not learning anything new, if I'm still continuing to make that educational stuff. I hope that's making sense. I'd be really grateful if you could leave in the comments below what your perspective on that is, what level that you feel that you're at, and what kind of content you would like to be watching, I guess. That's kind of it. I'm really grateful to everybody who's subscribed so far, and it's really, really nice to have those loyal people that are there every week, or, well, it's not every week at the moment, but every time I do put up a video, I do see you, I do know who the people are that are coming back and interacting, and I really, really appreciate it. And I guess I just want to be sure that I'm making videos that will suit you or that you're interested in, as much as I'm interested in it too. Okay, back to murdering my plants. So, 1, top cutting. Here's a question. Why do some philodendrons curl their top growth like this before the leaves come in? Why does that happen? I haven't looked this up. I haven't even attempted to Google it. But if you know off the cuff, offhand, let me know. Interesting. It happens to some of mine. I don't know why. I will be propagating all of these, I think, except for the wet sticks in water, because that's what works for me. All right, guys, there's one more plant that I need to do that I'm very, very nervous about, again, is my Philodendron species Fuzzy Petiole, which I thought was a Nangartense and have since learned that it is not. And there's a plant going around that people are calling Nangartense, which is actually a species Fuzzy Petiole, or as they call it. So I'll show you why I'm going to cut this plant, or why I want to. So this plant is hilariously top heavy, very unstable, just all over the place really, and I constantly am afraid that I'm going to snap it at the base anyway. So I would like to just propagate it. And same thing, we do have some babies growing down here. The new growth of these babies just comes out so wonky like an anthurium. You can see this horrible sad newest leaf that got cold damage in the move and kind of got fucked up on one side, effed up should I say. Yeah, I'm literally just gonna cut out the base because, yeah, and it's also been watered yesterday. Some cool notes going down here that we can prop, just pulling back these kind of dry bits. So the story with this one was it was already, oops, sorry Lua. It was already very top heavy when I bought it, and then I, you know, in learning to care for it, I think the bottom two leaves that it had, they passed away, let's say. Sad times. This definitely does send out aerial roots easier than other plants that I've had, but hasn't fully attached to the plank. My first and only plank hasn't fully attached to, probably a humidity issue. This is my species Fuzzy Petiole in all of her glory. So we have the main plant there with the good root system that's been watered, and then the two little babies, and we'll see how they go. But yeah, guys, I think I've done enough today. I think I've really tore into my collection. Oh, one more thing. Yesterday when I was watering my plants, this almost never happens to me, but I hear people it happens to quite a lot, and honestly it is heartbreaking. I snapped off a big piece of growth from my Monstera species Peru, and I had planned on propagating it simply because it sent out this humongous runner that's been just going crazy, and I wanted to kind of cut it back because it looks really silly like, but I snapped off 5 leaves, big chunk, and it really upset me. Here's a little node from it, and I'll show you what I did. So this is it, and this is a slow grower I find, so this is even more heartbreaking. It's a really like messed up kind of shape, and here is the runner. Has one tiny leaf, and that's the runner, and it's been growing around the back of the shelf here, which I was totally fine to just let it do and see what happens, but yeah, well, it can't do that anymore. So not a lot of spacing going on here, but I am going to attempt each section, I think. I have a lot of propagating going on, guys. If you want me to update you in a month's time, or however long, in a couple of weeks, on how these are all doing, I will. Let me know if you'd like to see that, if that would be interesting to you. Yeah, that's kind of it. That's definitely enough for today. I think I've decimated some of my biggest plants there. So hopefully these all grow. Let's just, yeah. Okay guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Every time I sit down to do a propagate video, I'm like, just do like 2 plants, because I end up talking and it ends up being at least 30 minutes long. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Subscribe, like this video. All of these things really help. I'm trying to be more active in that myself, being a YouTube watcher or viewer, and to really let my favorite creators know that I, appreciate their content by doing things like that. For years, I didn't. So I'm just saying, if you're enjoying this, please let me know by doing that. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much and have a great day. Enjoy your plants. Bye.